So, Jubilee has a video called If Teen Boys Were 100% Honest, and we're going to watch it. I'm going to see what's on this video, and I'm going to see what's up with this. So,
In an age of call-outs, culture wars, and perfect facades, people can be afraid to express how they really feel. So we brought together 7 strangers, protected their identities, and asked them all 7 burning audience questions. What will be revealed when we take the mask off?
If the answer is yes, you will flip on your life. Do you watch porn?
that's crazy. They said the audience wanted to hear these answers. This is just like, come on, bro. Like, this is ridiculous. This is the audience wanted to know if these niggas watch porn. Y'all already know the answer to that. This is this is fucking crazy.
It's accessible, and because it's accessible and it's there, people use it. I'm one of them. I think most guys can agree that they have at least at some point watched it, and it's if you can enjoy it in a healthy way, if you can enjoy masturbating in a healthy way, I think then by all means go for it. But yeah, I do watch porn. God. A lot of my teenage years, I spent a lot of time self-obsessing over it, and to the point where it kind of became an addiction. And it took until very recently to get out of the hole of paying for porn. I do watch it, but I don't like that I watch it.
So he doesn't like the fact that you watch his porn. And to be honest, like there's all sorts of drawbacks to watching pornography that nobody wants to talk about. And I'm no conservative, but I feel like one of the biggest reasons why we don't talk about the negative aspects of pornography is because it's always been evangelical far right Christians who have been calling out porn. So even when you're a normal, average, everyday guy who has fairly liberal views, but genuinely feels like that there's some sort of mental or physical drawback to pornography, people don't want to listen and people kind of shut it out as if you're like some kind of oppressive, prude or some shit. And it's like, damn, like so many young men have spoken about porn-induced erectile dysfunction. And I truly believe that a lot of young men are struggling from porn-induced and masturbation as well, induced erectile dysfunction. And nobody wants to talk about it because if you ever once even say that there might be some sort of an issue with pornography, you're the bad guy. Like, I don't understand like how it's gotten to this point where if you think there's an issue with porn, you're the bad guy. But, that's where it is right now, where people feel like you're some sort of evangelical nut job trying to destroy people's freedom to have sex on camera. And it's like, that's not what I'm trying to do. But I feel like a lot of men are genuinely struggling with this issue and, should be free to accuse porn of being the source of their erectile dysfunction. I don't think men are lying when they say that they're having issues with that though. So, yeah.
I'm going to bring everyone else into the conversation.
I said no. I used to watch it a lot before. I would say I was addicted to it. My dad is in prison, so there was no one really for me to talk to about sex. So porn was my education on sex. From personal experience, it messed me up because after watching it so much, I'm sure we've all been there where you're on page 5 and like nothing is right. Like you're looking for that right video, but your dopamine like receptors and everything is so messed up at this point that the same thing that would get you off wouldn't get you off anymore. Right? I went so deep into it. I'm a straight man. I started watching trans porn because it was just erotic in a different way that I've never seen before. I needed more stimulation because of pornography. Yes, because of pornography. So I don't think it's just entertainment. It actually affects with your brain and the way you perceive love.
See, he indirectly like spoke about what I'm talking about, where the pornography in and of itself, it numbs you, and it also like it decreases the bandwidth of like what can turn you on. So a lot of dudes, I've seen Steph Cole even talk about it, where like he was like, yeah, like I was hanging out with a girl, I invited her over to the crib, and I couldn't get hard. Like I couldn't get up. And the reason why is because dudes be watching porn, and whatever they're seeing on pornography is just it's draining their brain of like it's fucking with the chemicals in your brain. And you're no longer sensitive to what you should be sensitive to. Now you need the utmost and beyond for you to be stimulated, which is, not what you would want. That's not the ideal situation. And yet, that's a situation a lot of dudes find themselves in simply because of pornography. I'm not saying porn should be banned. I'm all for a free society where people can watch pornography and create pornography. But I really hate when doctors and like liberal people like sit there and act like, oh, you're not dealing with ED because of porn. Like, stop. Please stop. There's no way on Guys Green Earth y'all really believe that niggas beating their meat 10 times a week watching porn are gonna have a healthy, proper reaction to real sex. Let's stop. This is the one issue I, as a liberal, have with the left is pretend like we're all playing in this fantasy world. Like, it's okay to admit that there's some sort of potholes or issues with pornography. I don't see the problem with that.
I think that a lot of teenagers or teen boys are really educated on the effects of pornography. No.
Have you ever cried in front of someone else?
I wholeheartedly agree with the statement. I feel like it's easier to open up towards women, which is kind of embarrassing, but like, quite frankly, I feel like they understand emotions more because they really understand the whole crying. I mean, I feel like crying is sort of normal to them, and they see of it as like a way to express themselves.
I don't know about that, bro. It depends on the kind of woman you're opening up to. Like, if you're opening up to a romantic interest, bro, and you're crying, L. Automatic L. Just write it off, bro. If you had any dreams of y'all having some kind of deep romantic relationship, bro, that crying you just did, just go on ahead and X that shit out, bro. Just sign up for the next season because you're not getting picked up for the team this season. Go on ahead and just let them know you're not coming into practice, bro, because you're not coming into practice. It's over for you. But if you're talking about crying in front of female relatives, that's another story. That's another story. But in terms of crying in front of female romantic interest, bro, I don't know about. I highly suggest that young men completely abstain from that. All you're gonna do is end up crashing out. You're not gonna get anything. There's no benefit to it. Don't do it.
It's interesting that you said that you're more comfortable to cry in front of women. I had a girlfriend and she broke up with me over text. And before that, we were like talking and I cried in front of her and I was being honest. And I thought that's what you're supposed to do. That's what my dad taught me, right? But
oh no, the nigga cried in front of his girl and she broke up with him. See, this is what I'm talking about, right? I don't believe in telling young men to cry in front of their love interests. You can cry in front of the therapist, cry in front of your mama, cry in front of a homie that you know can handle it, cry in front of your father, but crying in front of your girl, bruh, it's a recipe for disaster every single time. And people call it misogyny, but it's like, bro, if women are going to continue to leave their man after they cry, which is, I don't have an issue with that. Like, do whatever you want. But if women are constantly showing like, hey, like we don't really like, women are never going to verbally say it because it's fucked up to say. It's supposedly fucked up to say. But, yeah, like at the end of the day, young men are constantly reporting like, hey, like I cried in front of my girl. She broke up with me. I cried in front of my woman. She broke up with me. I cried in front of my wife. She broke up with me. Men are being left over and over again, left and right, for being vulnerable. And I think it's very, very important that we teach our sons to be hesitant to be vulnerable with a love interest. I know that's like considered like hateful or like that's considered like, I don't know, like politically incorrect, but I don't care. At the end of the day, I think that it creates more tension between men and women when men are being told something about women that's completely false and then try to implement that in their day-to-day life and it backfires. And then they're sitting there like, well, I did what you guys told me to do. What the fuck? It's like, well, we kind of lied to you, but we're never going to tell you we lied because then that would undo that would undo all of it. Like the whole goal here is not to help young men understand how to live a healthy lifestyle in a relationship. The goal here is to protect the image of young women in the eyes of men. And I'll say this before and I say it again. I completely 100% believe that women should be allowed to do whatever the fuck they they want to do. I don't believe in kicking women down and putting women down just so average bum men can have a chance at sex or relationships. I don't believe in that at all. But I don't believe in lying to young men. Like they know, like don't tell your son that he can cry in front of his girlfriend, bro. Stop. It sounds good on paper, but do you want your son to be happy? Do you want your son to have a healthy relationship? Or are you trying to feed him a fantasy that makes women look perfect? No, none of us are perfect. It's important for us to start teaching young men the fucking truth. That way, young men and women can have healthy relationships where everyone understands where one another stands. However, when we're lying to people and giving them false information and misdirection, you create bitterness and you allow people like Andrew Tate to gain more and more of the minds of young men. So that's just what I think. I think that's the facts.
I guess she interpreted it as being insecure, and she broke up with me, and that really messed me up for a little while because it's like, well, now I know I can't show any kind of insecurity, so I don't like crying in front of women. Like, I'd rather cry in front of some family that I trust, right? That's interesting because I'd rather find a stranger on the street and tell them everything I'm going through because I will never see them again in my life, and I feel like they won't be able to judge me. So I'll never see them. I'd rather have a stranger think I'm strong and my family know all my problems. So that's interesting.
Feminism has.
Yeah, I personally would never go up to a stranger and talk crazy to them because just no. But, like young men are struggling to find proper outlets for their emotions. And I would always say that family or a therapist are your best options. And maybe a homie that can handle your vulnerability. But never, ever, ever become vulnerable, especially to the point of tears with your girl. It will always, for the most part, will back. There's a few guys who have survived. There are a few guys whose girls were like, I don't care. But that's not most girls. I'm telling you right now, bro. Don't risk it. Don't be that guy. Don't be an idiot. Don't listen to society telling you to cry in front of your girlfriend, bro. Stop. Don't be a moron. Like, use your head. If all the dudes are telling you, bro, I cried in front of my girl, bro, she left me, bro, you gonna do it too? You see 20 niggas jump off a cliff, 18 of them break their fucking legs, and then the other two are just fine. You gonna jump too? Come on, bro. Like, let's be realistic here. Let's use our brains. Let's use deductive reasoning. It is not okay for young men to be vulnerable in front of their heterosexual love interest. I don't know how gay men operate, but as a straight man, I would highly recommend to young straight men not to be emotionally vulnerable, especially to the point of tears with a female love interest. Shout out to the ladies out there, but I gotta be real.
It's gone too far.
In the feminism movement, there's so much of tearing down men or trying to put men back in their spot. But if the women want us men to step up, then I feel like it'd be a lot more productive instead of tearing down men and telling us all what we're doing wrong, than to, on the other hand, to build us up. I guess for the sake of keeping us accountable for our actions. And as men, we also need to step up.
Giving females more opportunities to certain things, I just think that's quite unfair. And it's like, you got to put in the work, you got to put in certain things to earn these things. And it's not like women are granted less access to these jobs. I mean, I know there's plenty of women who are in business, who are doing good things for America. I just find it counterintuitive that this whole feminist movement is advocating for equal rights in certain things when they already have access to them.
I'm a feminist, I guess. I believe in the equality of men and women. I think that when we talk about feminism, a lot of it boils down to employment. I think that the bringing down of men, guys keep on saying bringing down men and shaming them. I think that is way overstated. I have never been shamed for my maleness. I think, if you look,
I don't know. I think that feminism, third wave feminism, if there's even a fourth wave, but I definitely would say that third wave feminism has definitely it's definitely crossed some lines. I wouldn't say feminism has gone too far. I don't think you can go too far with trying to make sure women have the rights they deserve in a world where for the majority of human history, women have had no rights. So I think feminism is incredibly important. But I do believe that there is a lot of attacking of men that goes along with feminism. I do believe that feminism definitely does antagonize men. I think that a lot of left-wing movements do this, where they feel like the solution to a racial or gender tension-filled issue is to antagonize the group that you think is responsible for the oppression. So you see shit like "Dear White People," or you see like BuzzFeed videos like 50 questions Black people have for white people, and it's all just like super disrespectful questions, right? This is what the left has kind of come up with in their heads, where if we're going to confront this issue, let's just antagonize the group that we think is responsible for the oppression. And you see the same thing with feminism as well, where oftentimes feminists will take these blanket terms and blanket accusations and just throw them at men, and basically like just lash out at men, just like literally just lash out at men as a whole. And I think that feminism definitely has a bad rap for a reason. Like, I don't think that third wave feminism has a bad rap in a vacuum. I genuinely do believe that third wave feminism in particular got a bad rap because, like many different left-wing movements, instead of trying to find a place where we can bring both groups together, mediate issues, and solve them, we antagonize and poke at a group that we think is responsible for everything. Dear white people, dear men, dear Christians, dear this. We try to fiddle fuck with groups of people that we feel like are dominant. Instead of trying to cooperate with them, we try to antagonize them. And I think that that's the reason why a lot of men are turned off by feminism. Not because feminism is specifically for women. I think most people in their right mind understand why there's a Black Lives Matter and not a White Lives Matter. I think most people understand why there's a feminism and not a masculinism or a meninism, if that's even a fucking word. I think most people understand why these things exist. I think that people are turned off when these movements go from let's try to help Blacks and let's try to help women and let's try to help minorities reach a place where they can also eat from the American pie. Instead of that, it turns into how can we just antagonize the fuck out of cis people, white people, men, like Christians. How can we just antagonize and fiddle fuck with groups of people that we feel like are responsible for the oppression of other groups? So I understand why feminism has a bad rap in the eyes of a lot of young men. And when I was in high school, I used to hate feminism. I'm like, bro, fuck this shit, bro. These bitches ain't shit. They always attacking men. As I got older, I started to realize why feminism exists, why it's important. But I still am not going to sit here and act like the antagonizing of groups has not taken place. I'm not going to sit here and act like it even works, like it serves a purpose. It is true that left-wing movements do a lot of unnecessary antagonizing. And the shit is fucking retarded. Facts.
Look at any movement, there's definitely going to be like a radical portion of that movement, but at the same time, I want to open up the question to you guys. Do any of you guys have personal experience where you feel you've been brought down, like to bring a woman up?
A little bit like in high school, and it's not like the worst thing in the world. We have like an ASB my sophomore year. There was happy thoughts, right? Like every Friday you just write something and you put it in the bin. It'll just be the girls and then some, more of the feminine guys complimenting each other, which is not a problem. But as they're complimenting each other, oh, look at you, you're killing it, and then they'll even like insult me. It went from being happy thought to build up Women Day. You know what I mean?
I feel like there's a wall, and we should break down that wall and focus on the genders. Not women, not men, not Mexicans, not this. We should all bring each other up.
I've been anxious about my penis size.
Okay, I'm immature, bro. I'm sorry, bro. I'm mad immature, bro. Yo, see, bro, this is why y'all can't let me watch these videos, bro, because I'm gonna laugh, bro. Yes. Yo, bro, this shit ain't funny, bro, because, bro, it's really not funny, bro. Okay, let me stop, bro. Let me stop, bro. This is a sensitive time, and I'm laughing at this shit. It's not funny.
The age of 11 or 12, and that's a very impressionable, vulnerable place to be in. So of course, there's always these feelings about looking at your body.
I think the competition is probably what affects me the most part. It's the thing you're like, I know good and well there's dudes bigger than me, and she says it doesn't matter, but it still plays on my mental when I go to sleep at night.
Hey, bro. if she's giving you a chance, bro, if you're in there, if y'all are getting at it, bro, don't worry about the other dudes that she might or may not have been with, bro. Like, don't worry. Like, if you're in there, just just learn to take a W, bro. It's a lot of dudes that sit there like, have you been with anybody bigger than me? Have you like on like an insecure level? Like, it's not wrong to ask a girl that, especially if you're being playful. But if you're like if you're fucking like Blues Clues in this shit, like if you're being weird about it, like, bro, like, just chill. Like, if she's fucking with you, especially if you've had sex with her more than once, it's like, bro, like, she's clearly cool with your equipment, bro. Don't mess up a good thing with, being fearful of what another guy might be packing. As long as you're not packing a schmedicus, as long as you're not packing, an acorn, I really don't see the issue here, But I mean, see, let's just keep watching.
Currently, I'm not really like afraid of the size that I have because I am kind of becoming more confident in my body and the way that I am. I don't really feel like it's going to matter nearly as much when you're with someone for 10 years as you are for like a one night stand. So I am not personally like that uncomfortable with my size.
Everything that you just said like is true, and like you just need to become confident in your own self by knowing what people really look for. But like, it's hard to get on Netflix and watch Euphoria and think like these are like grown ass men playing high school people, and you think like, well, that's not what I look like, and then you think,
Well, on top of that, it's not just grown ass men; it's also carefully selected actors with certain body features that they're using. Like, even in pornography, like, they're grabbing the people with the biggest breasts, the biggest ass, the biggest penis. Like, they're grabbing people with these traits that most people don't have to sell you a product. It's no different on a TV show like Euphoria. They're grabbing the prettiest. They're grabbing Zendaya. She's pretty. They're grabbing people with traits that most people don't have to market a show or a video to you. So it's definitely important to understand, like, when you're looking at these TV shows and you see these people who look like, like, I don't know, like, just look perfect. It's carefully curated that way to get you to continuously watch the show over and over and over again for that eye candy. So there's that as well.
about like every person that I have been with or will be with has probably seen this. I think that's really where that anxiety comes from. It's just the fact that other people probably have expectations.
I have questioned my sexuality.
I guess growing up, I was never one of like the jocks of school. I always was into music. I was always into theater, and so growing up, I was always bullied because of that, because I was being too gay or whatever. And I always hung out with the girls, and so I definitely did kind of buy into what everyone else was saying, their peer pressure of like saying, "Oh, you're gay. This is how you're going to end up turning out because this is how you are now." With where I am now in my life, I've just kind of gotten to a place where I've grown to be confident and I know what my identity is.
People thinking that definitely like it gets you thinking. It gets you thinking like, well, like, am I or should I be? It's like, dude, like, should I be?
I've never experienced that. That's weird. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I'm not saying these niggas never experienced it. I'm just saying, like, have y'all ever had people like, bro, you gay, bro? Like, they genuinely like wanted you to believe you were gay? I don't know, man. I don't know. I feel like there were definitely other kids that were like that, but like everyone kind of like said it behind their backs, like, bro, yo, I ain't gonna lie, bro, that nigga gay, bro. But it was never like there was never a time where all the kids like mustered up enough balls to tell the kid that we all thought was gay that they were gay and to like reinforce that idea. So I don't know. These niggas probably grew up in like, I don't know. Mind you, I went to private school. So I went to private school, y'all. So there's a lot of shit that y'all probably experienced, bro, that I did not. So y'all got to fill in the gaps for me whenever I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, because it's hard to wrap my mind around kids being like, you're gay. Like, I just can't, like, I can't wrap my mind around that. I've seen kids whisper it. I've seen people accuse other kids of being gay in secret, but I never saw anybody like boldly tell like another kid repeatedly, bro, like, you're gay. Like I just never seen no shit like that. Like that's pretty fucking bold. I ain't gonna lie. That's actually pretty evil. I'm not gonna lie.
Be attracted to dudes because I like things that are quote unquote gay, you know, but then I guess it just reveals the issue that like we've made certain things gay and made certain things straight.
Yeah, right. Mine's didn't stem from any kind of like extra like curricular activity. Myself stemmed from porn, as I mentioned before. And when I started watching trans porn, and it's weird to say, but like I got really nervous. I got really nervous because I thought maybe I'd be gay. And so, I did my research on it, and I was kind of obsessed with trying to figure out like what this could mean. And all the stuff I would look up was saying like if you watch trans porn, you're still straight because they're women and stuff like that. But I'm thinking like, what would my family think? I've never sought out, and like every time I talk to a trans woman in real life, there's no like actual attraction there. So I'm still lost in the fact of what I actually am attracted to. But I guess I am still straight because they are women.
Did he say he lost his attraction for genuine, like for like literal women, bro? Let's replay that.
Actually am attracted to, but I guess lost in the fact of what I actually am attracted to. But I guess I am still straight because they are women. There's no like actual attraction there, so I'm still they're women and stuff like that. But I'm thinking like, what would my family think? I've never sought out, and like every time I talk to a trans woman in real life, there's no like actual attraction.
Oh, he said trans. Okay.
Lost in the fact of what I actually am attracted to, but I guess I am still straight because they are women.
So ultimately, bro, like these were. Have you questioned your sexuality? Are you anxious about penis size? Has feminism gone too far? Do you watch porn? Have you cried in front of someone? Okay, like the last two, are you scared of dying and that other shit? I don't know. But nah, bro, like these are pretty, I guess they're normal. Yeah, now that I think about it, yeah, I'm being nerdy. These are normal questions for teenage boys to answer. Yeah, I'm definitely tweaking by even thinking that this is weird or off or anything. Yeah, I'm in the wrong. I'm not gonna lie, I'm in the wrong. But yeah, these questions were definitely good, and I think that people are never gonna admit to certain shit. Like they're never when men come together and say, yeah, bro, like my equipment doesn't work as well as it used to because I be watching porn all the time and I be beating my meat. The doctors, the mainstream liberal culture are never gonna admit that you probably got ED from watching too much porn. They're never gonna admit it. They're always gonna gaslight you. In terms of feminism going too far, there's no doubt that a lot of left-wing movements antagonize certain demographics because they feel like those demographics deserve it, or they feel like by antagonizing those groups, they're sticking up for groups that are being oppressed. There's no doubt in my mind that that's true as well. But at the end of the day, bro, like it's good that young men are able to like come together like anonymously and talk about this, but there's got to be a point in time where young men definitely talk about the porn issue in public and the have you ever cried in front of a woman or whatever the case might be, because those two topics people refuse to ever admit the truth. No, you shouldn't be crying in front of a girl. It will always end wrong and poorly. And number two, I would definitely say that there's definitely far too much like people are super duper abrasive about talking about, like when it comes to talking about the negative effects of porn physically. Like, bro, like it's dudes out here, ready to have sex with like really beautiful girls, bad chicks, and they can't get it up because they've been watching too much porn and beating their meat. I'm just saying. We got people's sex lives being wrecked by porn, and we're just not willing to admit that this is happening. I struggle to understand why, like, it's such a, like, why is it such a taboo to just admit that people are having this issue? It's whatever. I bet if women were struggling sexually from porn, we'd all talk about it, though. This is what I'm talking. This is why when people sit there and say, "Oh, young men are being turned to all these horrible people like Andrew Tate." Bro, if y'all would just listen to these niggas when they tell y'all that something ain't right, maybe it would be easier to shut down people like Tate. if y'all would just listen to young men when they tell y'all, yo, this ain't right, or something's wrong, or this ain't correct, bro, y'all be making headway. But because y'all will never admit anything, y'all will never admit to anything that inconveniences your view of the world, your view of your perception of reality. We have these fucking problems, but there's never going to be any concession. There's never going to be any conceding. No one's going to admit. And at the end of the day, young men are going to continuously turn to people like Andrew Tate and others for representation, because the society just refuses to listen to young men's problems unless young men are talking about what society wants them to talk about, and unless young men are talking about those topics in a way that society deems appropriate and allowable. So, at the end of the day, it's unfortunate, but yeah, society's not going to give young men the leeway as of yet, and it is what it is. It's unfortunate, but it's the truth. But good conversation nonetheless, though, that they hosted on Vice. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm out.